If you're here to see a talk about avoiding Project Jenga, great, you're in the right place. However, as soon as I submitted this talk, Jenga didn't feel right. It didn't look right. It didn't fit the metaphor. It didn't fit the story. So it's not going to be that, but it's the same talk. So we're not really going to talk about Jenga today, so sorry. We're actually going to talk about operation. Who knows the name of this guy? Yes, what's his name? Oh, psych. Anybody?
The operation guy.
But he has a name. It's Sam. His name is Sam. He's like Calamity Sam or something like that, because obviously everything is wrong with him. We're going to talk about project operation today. How to improve a complex system without killing your patient, which is your app or your site. Okay, so to start, first I'm going to tell you what I'm going to tell you, right? We're going to talk about doing research. This should be old hat to most of you who are into UX and whatnot. And we're going to look at the patient, do some triage, diagnose what's wrong. Then we're going to create a vision. We're going to come together with a prognosis on how to solve things. Then we're going to make a plan, or how are we going to effectively treat our patient. But first you need to know the physician, all right? So this is the physician. Oh crap, that's not right. There we go. That's the physician. I haven't had hair like that since I was 17. So this is a little bit about me. My name's Brandon, 16 years as a UX surgeon. I've cured a project of Director with Flash in 2002, prevented an outbreak of Silverlight in 2006. I'm especially proud of that one. Did some AS2, AS3 transplants, a Java Flex transplant. That was touch and go there for a while. And a lot of facelifts, cuts, bruises, healed. That's kind of what we do. We are healers. We heal people. So next we need to understand who our patient is. You may work on a project that fits into one of these categories, okay? So are you an existing app with boatloads of users? Are you Facebook, half the planet uses you? Or are you a brand new app ready to launch? Both are viable victims for redesign treatment, okay? Sometimes you're ready to launch a product, but it's not quite right. You need to know what you should do about it. And based on what side of that spectrum you fall will dictate what kind of methodology you approach your redesign. People redesign for a lot of different reasons. The four main reasons are optimizing for mobile, adapting to organizational changes, updating look and feel, putting management tools in the hands of marketers, those sorts of things. There are a lot of reasons we update, and they fall into these three basic categories: aesthetic, architectural, and functional. And you may have a couple of reasons in each category. You may have all the reasons in one category. It depends on what you're doing. And because every project is different and the reasons for redesign are different, the way we approach redesign needs to be prescriptive for your problem. You can't just throw Prozac at everything, right? So the basis of where you begin, though, is always the same. Stuff is broken and you need to fix it. Your patient is sick and you need to heal them. Personal story. I was working on a project, super excited about it. It was a 20-year-old successful oil and gas accounting application. And they realized that they were 20 years old and they needed to improve for the next generation. The bar has been set with the iPhone and they were getting left behind. So they hired me and my team. We came out and we said, wow, everything is broken. You need to literally fix everything. Your architecture, your back end, your front end, how you staff it, how you update it, how you train, how you support it. Literally everything is the same as it was in 1984 or so when you started this project. We need to redo everything. And so we went about redoing everything. We'll finish that story a little later. So let's take a look at some clinical studies, things that we need to know. Facebook. Every single time Facebook changes one tiny little thing, everybody gets pissed off. Why? Well, because you moved everybody's cheese. And even if you only piss off 1% of your customers, if you're Facebook, you have 2 billion customers. Well, 1% of 2 billion is a big number. I'm a designer. I don't do that kind of arithmetic, but it's big. Okay? So they keep changing things, and they change everything all the time, or why won't they change this? Where's my hate button? Everybody wants that kind of stuff. and it makes everybody upset. You also have Yahoo Mail. So they redesigned Yahoo Mail for all the wrong reasons. There was a new executive who wanted to make his mark. That's why Yahoo Mail was redesigned. They got rid of loved features and integrated a whole bunch of new ones that nobody wanted or cared about. They imitated competition when a lot of the reasons people use them is because they weren't like Gmail, and they made it just like Gmail. And so now your core users are like, what? And they launched full of bugs. And they had a massive public uproar resulting in an online petition at change.org with over 40,000 signatures to bring back the old design. Okay? Even 25% of Yahoo staff wouldn't use it. They hated it. What else got redesigned? Finish Line. Just before holidays, they launched their brand new redesign to help boost sales. Dropped by $3 million, and they had to revert back. Ta-da! Marks & Spencer, $196 million in their redesign efforts, and sales dropped by 8%. Ta-da! Tropicana, this is a fun one. $35 million ad campaign, all across the board. Music, television, media, boxes, labels, logos, everything. Customers hated it, okay? Dropped by 20%. A lot of customers couldn't find the product they'd been buying for 30 years because of the redesign. And then when they showed them the product, they're like, oh, I thought that was a generic one. And so they had to pay another $15 million to go back to where they were before. Ta-da! All right? Oh, this one, so sad. $100 million on their redesign. Sales dropped by 20%. Well, they did $1 billion a year. So I did the math for us. 20% of $1 billion is $200 million, and it took them 3.5 years to recover. So that redesign effort for that hot new site cost them $800 million. Ugh. These are sad, sad patients. But there are some good stories too. BuildDirect.com, they increased conversion by 16% and did an additional $1 million a month with their redesign efforts. Not every redesign fails. WASP, Barcode, they used an evolutionary approach. They each change delivered more and more stuff, more and more change, more and more insight, and they increased sales 255%. That's awesome. And of course, we all know the $300 million button story. You got hired to do A, did actual research, decided the problem was actually B, did B, and ta-da, $300 million in increased sales by changing basically the label of a button instead of doing a redesign. Technically, it was a redesign. They did what they were asked. They increased sales, but not the way the client thought they should. So the prognosis. So if you've got these symptoms and these persist, or you give them the wrong treatment, every day it's going to get spendier. Every day it's going to suck more. Every day things are going to get harder. Yes, it is serious. So the prognosis. IBM did a survey conducted by Harris Interactive on customer behavior, and they found some amazing things. And it's clear that the consequences of site redesign failure can extend not just to your online presence, but to your entire business. If you screw it up over here, there's a ripple effect to everything you do. So as designers, we want to redesign everything. In fact, today, a little bit of hint, I'm going to drop an app on here in a little bit. I already want to redesign it. I was pushing code last night at midnight going, I wish I had time to redesign this bit, right? But it's just kind of in our nature. As engineers, we want to fix things. Designers, we want to improve things. Put the two together with UX, UI, and it's like, I want to improve and fix things. And it's not always right or the right time. There are a lot of risks, okay? HubSpot did a really good research report and found that 51% of website redesigns launch late, okay? Or they go over budget, or a third of the people just aren't happy with the whole outcome that they paid gobs of money for. So what do? Well, we treat it. What do we need to know for this treatment? I love this quote. Love, love, love it. That is how we approach redesign. We need to be passionate about it, but strategic. So There are two modes or modalities of redesign when you're approaching a project. Okay? There's revolution and evolution. Revolution is going to be that Greenfield, 0 lines of code, starting fresh, no baggage kind of approach. Evolution is Kaizen, small increments over time. That's it in a nutshell. And there are pros and cons to each approach. Revolution has some pros. You get to change everything. You really do. But you could also, in the process, break everything. And usually do. It's also the most ineffective for major changes, part of which they get lost. They get bogged down and overburdened in stakeholder politics. Everybody wants a piece of the pie. Everybody's been sitting on this feature or this requirement or this thing that they wanted for years, and all of a sudden we're starting from scratch. All the reasons they told me I couldn't have it before, I can have it now. I'm going to get that sucker in there come hell or high water. And everybody feels that way. And then you get all of that pushed through, you launch it, and your customers hate you because you moved all their cheese, right? So you got to be careful about that. Cameron Mall, love that guy, wearing his shirt. I'm wearing a mall today. So they redesign, but great designers realign. What does that mean, okay? Use the 80-20 rule. Things like evolution can do this. You take the existing design problem, and it solves 80% of the user's problems. And 80% of their problems with your design come from 20%, okay? So starting from scratch takes you all the way back to that 80%. Your existing thing, no matter how broke or busted it is, probably solves 80% of their problems. And you need to focus 80% of your efforts on the 20% that isn't broken. Does that make sense? Like I said, I'm kind of hopped up and I'm speaking a little bit quickly right now. But great designers take what's already good and add that last bit of polish to take it to the next level. And usually by adding, I mean we take away, right? We polish, we take the complex and we make it clearer. So evolution does that for us, all right? Pros, it fixes a lot of things well. It's faster than revolution. But it can feel like a lack of progress. But it minimizes risk by changing all of the elements that improve results. And you're going to focus on analytical data tied to ROI rather than aesthetics. Okay, now you get to rapidly roll out new features constantly because you're working on small chunks, not giant swaths. And you base your decisions on science, not gut reactions. Remember, a UX designer without the U is a MyX designer, right? Why do you want to do that? Because I think it's right, because I have 16 years of experience in doing this. Do our customers feel that way? I don't know. Well, then you're a MyX designer, right? So don't be that guy or gal. If we do our job right, on launch day, says the dev manager, nobody will notice. And that's a hard sell sometimes in an organization. Okay, we're going to do this great redesign effort. It's going to cost you about 20 grand, and when we launch, nobody will know. Where's the fun in that? So it's kind of a tough sell with evolution. But when was the last time Amazon had a redesign? It was probably last night, but you probably didn't notice. Right now, think back to Amazon 5-10 years ago. Radically different. But they roll out little changes here and there, just a little bit. Here a little, there a peck a little, peck a little, peck a little bit, right? So, never have high risk with evolution. I like musicals. So, it requires a solid vision, though, of what you're going to do. You have to have a long-tail vision of what you're trying to accomplish. You can't just think, hey, we're going to redesign everything and we're going to push it out, in a year or two. You have to think 2, 3, you have to think a month from now, 6 months from now, a year from now, 18 months from now. It's a little bit harder, okay? But with evolutionary site redesign, you get this kind of a model, right? Where instead of constantly trying to catch up, you're constantly improving with small little chunks. But evolution has 6 modes that I'd like to talk about today. Today we're going to talk about 8 modes, really, of redesign methodologies you can take. Revolution is 1. Evolution is 2. But evolution, I think, can also be broken down into 6 more. Multiplicity, bone graft, facelift, band-aids, face-off, and quadruple bypass. See how we're going with the whole operation theme, right? So, multiplicity. So pros, you can fix everything. Cons, it takes a long time and it's expensive, and you have to maintain 2 things. Basically, you're cloning. We're going to keep the old version for the old people so we don't move their cheese. And we're going to stand up a brand new version. And people can migrate to it if they want, and new users will automatically get the new version. But in order to do this, you have to have a couple of teams, right? You have to have the old team to do the old maintenance, the new team to do the new thing, and it can be costly. But it's incredibly effective because you're sort of doing revolution, but you're doing it without all of the risks involved with revolution. It's just actually more expensive than revolution. But a lot of people make good hay with it, like 37 Signals. They do this with Basecamp and some other apps. They'll roll out on a new version, and they'll invite you to try it out, this radically new redesigned thing, but you can roll back if you want. So it's really effective for managing that. One of the great quotes about this kind of a problem is, the great thing about users is they eventually die. So, you can work with that. Bone Graft. Address UX-only things. Don't touch the UI, don't touch the back end, just focus on UX and usability, right? But if you do that, it can feel like nothing changed and nothing new got added. Facelift is sort of the opposite. You only focus on aesthetics. Maybe it's just really old. Maybe people like the way it looks. It just looks dated. So you can do a facelift. Spruce it up a little bit. But it can sometimes, if the real problems underpinning your base problems are functional or usable, you're putting lipstick on a pig. And I just found out, by the way, that what are those called? That idiom is directly translates into Hindi as well. Hindi has a lipstick on a pig idiom, and it's putting makeup on a porcine animal. It's really cool. So not all translate, but that one actually does, which is pretty cool. Band-aids. All right, let's take a wide swath across the board. UX, UI, front end, back end, everything, and let's pick that low-hanging fruit, put some Band-aids on it, get it out the door quickly, right? And then we can address some of the larger issues over time. And then face off, strip off the front end. If all your problems are there, just completely rip it off, keep the back end the same, and then bolt on a new front end. That was that Java Flex thing that I did before. Their Java UI couldn't push it anymore. Flex in 2007 was the bee's knees, and so that's what we did. We did all this cool stuff in Flex that was impossible in HTML, and impossible in Java, and it was great. Now they need to do the same thing. They need to strip that sucker off and put HTML5 on it, because now it can work. And the back end can stay the same, right? Because they wrote good APIs, and you can tap into it, so it's not super bad. But extensive QA is required, and you still have the possibility to break everything. And then the opposite is true with quadruple bypass, where you address architectural issues, but you don't get any new features. It looks exactly the same, and your customers are probably never going to know. So these are the methodologies we're going to talk about. All right. So we're going to break these out to find the right treatment. First, we do our research, then we create a vision, and then we make a plan. All right, so stub is part of the research part. Your stakeholders, technology, users, and brand, stub. I could have reordered them in other ways, but tubs, butts, but stub seemed to kind of be the least offensive. But stub, these are the people that care about your redesign, and these are the people that are affected by your redesign. So you need to find out what it is they actually need. Next, you do the GSR. You set your goals, define the scope, and define your technical requirements. But you can't do this until you know this, right? Again, if you're not doing research for your designs, new or old, you're not a UX designer. You're just a designer, right? It's really critically important that we have science and data to back up our arguments, not the least of which is data wins arguments. When the CEO says, my wife likes brown, so the app's going to be completely brown. Everything must be shades of brown. And you're like, but this is for teenage girls, and this doesn't work. I need some brown with red text on it. And you're like, oh. So you need data to tell the CEO, no, okay? And then you make a plan, right? And this is ICP, otherwise known as Insane Clown Posse, okay? So what issues are you facing? What do you care about most? Now make a plan, all right? So you got to shape all this, focus all your design efforts, identify the biggest issues in stubs, set your goals and priorities, and now make a plan. So what you have to be aware of, though, is in post-op, you have to measure your success. Once you've applied this thing, did it do what I hoped that it would do? And if you're not measuring before and after, again, you're just throwing crap against the wall, seeing if it sticks. That's not what we're here to do. So So measure your success, not just with qualitative data from user interviews, but with quantitative data from metrics, Google Analytics, Mixpanel, that sort of thing. And now you can plan for constant, consistent change. Do the research, weigh the cost, and provide visibility. Everything must be transparent. And avoid not planning. Avoid setting an insufficient budget of time, people, money. And then these last three are kind of contradictory. Don't do just what was asked. Go above and beyond. But don't do more than what was asked, because more than what was asked of you may be more than is necessary. And don't do more than is required, because then again, it's overkill, and you only need to do what needs to be done. And so they seem contradictory, but they're not if you really think about it. So think about it. All right, let's play. All right, pull out your apps, grab that piece of paper. We're going to look at stub. So you guys have 2 minutes to do some stub research. You're going to ask your neighbors 5 questions found on that stub sheet. It can be from the S, the T, the U, or the B. And then you're going to kind of keep those in your thoughts, because then you're going to set goals, scope, and requirements. You have 2 minutes. Go. bit.ly/Evo stub. Okay, all right, that's 2 minutes. I know, not a lot of time. But look how much you learned about your neighbors in 2 short minutes, right? And hopefully you gave each other a minute. Maybe it was just one of you. That's okay. But you have valuable assets on the website: content, blogs, keywords, inbound links. You have all this stuff. You need to protect existing assets during your redesign. You need to take stock of SEO and content assets using GA or HubSpot or Mixpanel, right? You've got number of visits, bounce rate, time on site, top performing keywords. There's all this stuff you need to care about, right? And you only find that stuff out when you do your research. So my team and I put together this stub sheet for you. So there's no reason now everybody in this room shouldn't be able to go in and talk to a stakeholder, a technologist, a user, or your brand management and ask them a few questions to help you understand what it is they want to get out of this redesign effort. This is every question I could ever think of, and my team. If you can think of more, email them to me, okay? So, next. All right, now switch to Evo GSR, okay? We're gonna do the same thing. Think about the questions you just answered. Think about the answers you got, and you're gonna set some goals, maybe identify some scope or requirements. Just do one of them, you only have 2 minutes. So, go. Okay, all right. So in 4 short minutes, you guys were able to talk to people, find out something you didn't know before, use that knowledge to establish a goal or a scope or a requirement. 4 minutes, guys, right? This isn't rocket surgery, as Steve Krug would say. It's not that difficult. You just have to make the time and effort to do it. Now, what do? This is kind of hard. Right? So you have to take all that data and make a plan. What issues did they care about? Okay? And let's set this plan. So you have to generate an explicit hypothesis and get whole team buy-in. All efforts must adhere to the plan and those hypotheses. Now you need to test them before shipping them and then reassess as needed. Test again after shipping to validate that it did what you wanted it to do, and show stakeholders the benefits of your data-driven efforts. All of this is leading towards data-driven efforts. But Brandon, you say, which of those 8 methods are right for me? and my goals and scope and requirements? Well, I'm glad you asked. Today, we are announcing Precocity Evo. evo.precocityllc.com. Please send us money so we can buy precocity.com, because I hate that URL. So, Evo is awesome, so we're going to go there. So here we are, and you can't see it. Let me mirror. Okay. So here we are at Evo. So down below, even if you forget everything I said in this talk, down below we have all the 8 methods available to you and little descriptions. Here's where you can download stub and GSR files at your own leisure. Okay, and you just get started. Should take you less than 5 minutes. We're going to go through it kind of fast. But first, select all the aesthetic reasons you want to redesign. It's got a dated look and feel. We can't sell very well and got poor conversion. Right? Next, functional reasons. It doesn't work on mobile, and it's inaccessible. And then we've got architectural, right? We're missing some functionality, and it's really hard to maintain. Next, right, how important to you is incremental progress? Do you want to update all the time, or you don't need it? We update pretty infrequently. Well, obviously, we want it. What about ease of rollback? Yes, we want it, because we want to move towards evolutionary design, right? What about tech design? No, it's not that bad. Okay, so, and this is, you just go through and pick the things that you want. And I want you guys to notice I'm scrolling through them fast, but my team designed over 153 custom icons for this app. Every single one is bespoke, including all of the little Sam illustrations and this entire deck. It's just absolutely incredible team effort, and I want to give them all a round of applause. Let's do that right now. Thank you. I love it. It's so beautiful. And I'll make them stand up and say a few words a little later. Right? All right, so you can see there are a lot of questions. And because remember those 3 sections, those 3 cards we saw at the beginning, they had all those reasons? That's what this stuff is answering. How much do you care about front-end issues, back-end issues, right? And you pick. All right, when you're done, you say who you are and where I can email you. Actually, I should use Brandon Ward at precocityllc.com, and I work at Precocity. There we go. All right, it says thank you. We're processing your results, and ta-da, my results are on their way. So I launch email, of course, which I closed because you never have your email launched during that. And look at that, we already have the email. So here's the email. And the email says the results are in. We suggest the Facelift method. And it tells us that this method focuses on UI-only improvements and is based on our answers about pressing issues, desired results, and existing constraints. Other methods, it looks like bone graft got an equal weight. So your first one always is 100%, but sometimes they can be equally matched. So bone graft will also be effective. And it looks like evolution itself is pretty highly effective as well. Those are our top 3. And the survey results are based on entries that we put in, like dated look and feel, low sales volume, etc. And so there are some next steps that you can do and how we can help you. And you can generate another one. And you can forward this to your friends and family, show it to your mom, your dad, all that good stuff, just like I know you want to. So that is Precocity Evo. And we're super excited to share that with you guys. And it's just a service. All we ask for is an email, and we promise not to spam you, kind of unlike the pre-conference emails that you were getting. So sorry for that. We'll do better on that. But we love this thing, and we hope you find some value in it. Is it prescriptive? Is it going to tell you everything you need to know? No. But it's going to put you on the right direction. Right? So here's that email. And so imagine, now rewind a little bit and remember the time that I was working on that Greenfield, super excited, revolutionary product. That was 3 years ago, and they haven't shipped the new version yet, not even in alpha. I left the project over a year ago because I didn't have any more work to do. I was 6 months ahead of the dev team design-wise, and they couldn't keep up, and we'd stubbed everything out, and I was like, you don't need me anymore, so I'm going to move on. And they have yet to ship because we were revolutionary. But if we'd have thought of things in these kind of, with this kind of a mindset 3 years ago, I would have been able to say, all right, what you guys first need is to fix your back end. We need to do a quadruple bypass. because your back-end code is unsustainable and we can't hook it up to anything other than WinForms, right? So let's fix that first. Then maybe we'll do a facelift. And then we can work on new features, because they're 30 years old. They've got every feature under the sun, which is why it's taking 30 years. Remember, they had 80% done. We just needed to solve that other 20%, which is what it wouldn't work on mobile, and it wasn't modern, dated look and feel, all those kinds of things. We could have addressed it by targeting different evolutionary redesign methods, one after the other. Because the bottom line that we need to know is it's just the beginning. The first method you use won't be the last one, and it won't be the next one. You aren't going to do facelift after facelift after facelift. That wouldn't make any sense. Your goal is to use each of those sub-methods to drive you towards a pure evolutionary method, where you're constantly rolling out new things. Developers love this, right? You've got your continuous delivery and agile environments where you're shipping new code every night or every iteration, right? And that's the point. So, who knows the story of Jekyll and Hyde? Good, most of you. Robin, tell us about Jekyll and Hyde. Who's Dr. Jekyll? Who's Hyde?
So, Dr. Jekyll was experimenting with some chemistry, alchemy, something or other, and unlocked something inside him. Great.
Yeah. What was his goal? What did he want to redesign about humans? Yeah, good versus evil, that kind of stuff. He wanted to take things that were bad and make them better. And that's kind of what we do. I need to know the nature of the demons that possess man's soul. I need to know why man's content to let them make him less than whole. Why does he revel in murder and madness? What is it makes him be less than he should? Why is he doomed not to reach his potential? His soul is black when he turns his back upon good. You see how long that took to load? I need to find a way to get inside the tortured mind of man. I need to try to separate the good and evil if I can. One thing is certain, the evil is stronger. Good fight's a hopeless and desperate fight. I must find ways to adjust the imbalance, to bring him back from the empty black edge of night. I need to go where no one has ventured before, to search for the key to the door that will end all this tragic and senseless decay. But how to go? I need to know. Come on in, DeMarcus. I need to learn the secrets of the mind that we cannot discern. I need to learn the things that make men pass the point of no return. Why does a wise man take leave of his senses? Where is that fine line where sanity melts? When does intelligence give way to madness? A moment comes when a man becomes something else. I need to know why man plays this strange double game. His hand always close to the flame. It's a deal with the devil he cannot disclaim. But what's his aim? I need to know. Dear gods, guide me. Show me how to succeed. With your wisdom inside me, this designer will follow wherever you lead. I need to see the truth other men cannot see, to be things that others can't be. Give me courage to go where no angel will go, and I will go. I need to know. Thanks. Oh. All right. 10 seconds to spare. Questions? Oh, actually, everybody from Precocity, please stand up. Please. Kat, Jay, Gloria, Min, you, Doug. He's a developer, right? So but Doug in the back, literally everybody standing worked on this. They all worked on those 153 icons. They designed this deck. They designed the look and feel. They designed the app. I did all the UX, the research, and everything. And together as a team, we put it together to form this. It was truly a team transformative effort. And I just love you guys so much. Thank you. Thank you. So if you have questions about the beautiful design, ask these guys, right? And the web app, if I didn't have Min, oh my gosh, you'd have like a giant form that was this tall with 4 questions. It was awful. Come on, you gotta have a question. Oh, yeah. It's right there, right here. 2.uxd.me/project operation. They're already on SlideShare.
Okay, but what about the song?
Okay, that is from Jekyll and Hyde, the Gothic musical.
No, I need it with the presentation.
Oh, with the presentation. Well, my good friend Doug back there is recording it, so as soon as we put everything together, we'll throw it up on the YouTubes and we'll send a link out. Oh, by the way, there's also on the deck is the bibliography. You can't read it here, not important, but it's on the one online. So those are some of the core websites I used to do all of my research. 16 years of experience gave me a lot of insight to this stuff, but so many people have run into these problems and they have better data or more experiences. And so all of the stuff that I talked about, if you're like, where is he getting that from? It's from that bibliography at the end. Yes?
How do you recommend, like, for an agency, when a client comes to you asking for redesign, how do you handle that? So they know maybe one of these things might work better for you? I mean, a lot of it sounds like it works really well in-house, but we have advice for an agency.
Absolutely. In fact, most of this stuff that I do is from the agency model. And her question was, how does this work in an agency model, right? Internally, you can talk to each other about it, but what about when a client says, I need a blank, and you don't want to give them something else? The way we do it is with a discovery process. So whenever a client engages with us, they have a problem, right? They have a pain point that they're suffering from. And sometimes they know really well what that pain point is. Sometimes they don't. Sometimes they think they do. Think of the $300 million button instance. They went to UIE and they asked Jared Spool's company, our checkout process is broken. We need you to redesign our entire checkout process. And they didn't go in and say, sure thing, boss, we'll go in and redesign your checkout process, right? No, they went in, did a few months of discovery. They hooked up analytics. They saw what people were doing. They saw where people were stopping. They took that data, talked to those people, found out what the actual problem was, and then solved that problem. Remember, design is about solving problems. And your client may think they know what the problem is, but they may only know the symptoms. Until you do your actual stub research with real data and real questions and real insights, all you can go by is trusting them. This is internal as well. So always do a discovery process to begin with. Usually we get them to pay for it, every time. We need 1 to 2 weeks to really figure out what the thing is. Then we will be able to present to you our potential solution for your problem. Because I would be doing you a massive disservice if I said, absolutely, I know everything that I need to do to fix your problem, because I have no idea what your problem is. Okay, you think you do, but you probably don't. So do that discovery phase, find out what the actual problems are, and then help them solve those actual problems. And in the case of like $300 million button, well, it just took a few weeks of discovery. We changed the button, did some A/B testing, everything's fixed. And it took way less time and way less money. Your clients love you for it. Now, sometimes it says you think you just need a new homepage, but really everything is broken, right? And so you have to be able to tell them that as well. But that's what that discovery process is. And now you're not just knee-jerk reaction telling them based on your feelings or based on, checking out their website. You have real data to back it up, because data wins arguments. And when you know more about the client stuff than the client does, guess who they value as an agency? Yes. So, yeah, so for some of you who may not have heard in the back, data doesn't always win the argument, right? Data does win arguments, but not always. I had a client who we kept putting language in the application that was fun and friendly. It was personable, and it helped them breathe life into a piece of accounting software that was otherwise really cold and unfeeling. And we said, people want to interact with software like other people. That's common cognitive psychology. So we started putting things in there like, awesome, your thing saved, or dope, your thing didn't save, right? Just little things in toaster messages and whatnot. And he said, you need to redo that language. That's not professional. Take that out of my application. This is the CEO. And we went, oh, hey, I totally get why you feel that way. But it turns out that software, blah, blah, blah. So we gave all the standard arguments of why you need to have a personal language, especially with error messages and whatnot, so that you're not pissing off your customers. And he said, absolutely not. These are accountants, they're not people. And he said, do not put that unprofessional language in my application. So we're like, interesting, he really feels strongly about this, but he's wrong. So I go back, I do a lot of research, I gather all this data, and I schedule a special meeting with the leads and the CEO so I can help him understand what a fool he's being, right? And so we sit down in the room and I do my pitch and he goes, very interesting. I feel much more informed now. Now change the damn language back. Because that is not going in my app. This is my app, my company, and it will not sound like that. I think it's unprofessional. And I said, you're the boss. And I said, as long as you acquiesce that you are wrong, and if anything comes back to bite us because the language of the app is cold and unfeeling, and if people start to say the app feels cold and unfeeling because the language is cold and unfeeling, I need you to remember this moment. And if it doesn't, fine, whatever, you win, great. The data supports my argument, your gut supports yours. You're paying the bills, this is your thing. At the end of the day, I have to do what you say. I just want you to do it from a place of mutual understanding. And if he still wants to make that decision, then he can. But we have done our job, and we've done our client this service of educating them and helping them understand in a meaningful and kind and pleasant and professional way. So it doesn't always win, but it sure helps. And if I'd have come in there with, well, I think you're wrong, Mr. CEO, my gut tells me, well, I'm half his age, half his experience, and he's just going to walk all over me. I can never convince him of anything. So you take some, you win some. And then you pick your battles. All right? Sometimes you give them, fine, I'll take the word super out, but you got to drop the logo from your app. Right? And then you pick little battles, and you win some, you lose some. That's a great question. Guys, we're over, and I appreciate that you've all stayed. If anybody has any other questions, please come up and talk to me. My name's Brandon. Say hi to the Precocity team. Thanks.